You guys ready? We're so honored to be a part of this. We're gonna kick this off with a piece of music that's very scientific. Don't worry, I recognize the hesitant round of applause there. We'll come back to that in just a second. It was difficult trying to decide which boundary traversal metaphor was fitting for Portland Cello Project. We're a group on a quest to play non-traditional music in non-traditional places. And maybe the one we've heard the most is that we're tearing down the boundaries, which, when you think about it for too long, as we have, you start to imagine a universe where there are no boundaries. It's almost like a weird science fiction landscape, and then you get to a point where you can't picture anything anymore because you don't know where to look for the new boundaries. And it's not entirely accurate for this group. Hip-hop music is still hip-hop, classical music is still classical. A dive bar is still a place you wouldn't want to go into with a fine suit, and symphony hall isn't a place where you can get a shot of Makers or something like that. Unless you're with Skip and you've snuck it in your cello case. We've heard the leaping over the boundaries metaphor as well, which conjures the image of a huge wild animal jumping over a fence and off into its freedom, creating its new destiny, which isn't entirely accurate for this group either. It implies we're creating something new, and we're not the first classical musicians, nor the first cellists to play the cello in bars or to play punk rock music in symphony halls. There's a wonderful cellist named Matt Heimovitz who was playing the Bach suites in CBGBs in New York long before this group existed. So maybe the most accurate metaphor for us is that we've kind of evolved to become builders of revolving doors through the boundaries of the different types of music. So we can go visit a certain type and come back when it feels most relevant or most dramatic or just most fun. Go from the classical to the heavy metal to the jazz. These boundaries are created by cultural tensions. And I'll let you think about what that means in terms of different music and how it divides itself. But it's all based on cultural tension to some degree or another. And tension sounds like such a heavy word, but as musicians, as composers, tension is our best friend. Tension is how we make music. We're constantly playing with tension. There's tension between every note we play, how they conflict with one another or how they resonate with one another. And what we started this talk with was exactly that. It was a very scientific examination of how every two note we can play in the 12-note classical scale can interact with itself to become more resonant or less resonant, to create more tension or just be very comfortable. We played them in a certain order, an order classified by a composer named Paul Hindemith, from the most concordant and comfortable to the least comfortable, and then back. Let's hear how that sounds. So here's the first in this Hindemith series. It's very happy. It's very comfortable. No riots are going to be caused from that one, right? Let's just go all the way to the under end of the spectrum, all the way to the end. So. By the look on Skip's face, you can tell it's a little more scary. And so in that first one, the notes, the resonances are backing each other up, making it vibrate stronger in a way that we hear as beautiful. And on the last one, they're conflicting the most. The mathematical frequency is just conflicting between the two notes. Let's hear the whole series. Let's play through it. Hold on that one. So you can hear it starting to become a little less comfortable. This is, if you've heard major music is happy, minor is sad, this is the minor interval. But we still have a ways to go before we reach that most discordant, most uncomfortable interval. Let's see if we can get there. And now we're there. Now the resonances are conflicting the most. We're at the farthest end of the spectrum, the most tension. Making our way back slowly. If you couldn't hear it, just look at Skip's face and you know what you're supposed to be feeling. So that one right in the middle, that harshest note, it's nothing new. Physicists didn't figure out, the waves they're conflicting too much. It wasn't some new discovery. 1,000 years ago, it was called the devil's tone, and you were supposed to avoid it in composition. And it has an effect on us. This isn't a learned response we have to it. Infants notice the difference between these two types of intervals. Non-human primates also notice a reaction between these two types of intervals. Let's hear the most concordant again. And I'll go to the opposite end. You can all hear that, right? We are simple creatures, right? Our ears betray us. This is the closest thing to a universal you can have in humanity. And where you have cultural tensions dividing different types of music, they're all using the same exact toolkit to make their music. It's the one thing that underlies everything else. They all make tension using these tones. The notes we play, that's our alphabet. Those two tones together like that in that big series, that's perhaps our words, our dictionary. Chords could be sentences, paragraphs, phrases. This is our musical vocabulary. Let's look at some examples in music. Let's see. Pretty much every composer uses this. Bach was using it, Mozart, Mahler, Beethoven, Janis Joplin, Kanye West, and even the Biebs, Justin Bieber. Let's start with some Bach. This is a piece of music by Bach, the Sarabande from the 6th Cello Suite, D major. He starts in a very safe, comfortable place. Let's hear the very first chord. And then he moves in varying degrees, pushing, pulling, comfort, discomfort. Starts to jump on that really discomfortable note, really uncomfortable note at a certain point, and then jumps off. He just pushes your button. He's kind of like an older sibling teasing you. He's not like a bully. Some composers are bullies with this note, but let's hear him do that. So Diane has that spicy note on this one. Listen to her very closely. She's going to jump on it and then jump off. This makes you take a deep breath and then let go. It's like it's winding up a screw, right? Let's hear it later in the piece. The most beautiful thing you'll hear, it's cascading, descending lines of beautiful chords. And in the middle of it, he takes a breath and stops and winds up that screw a little bit again. This time, Lauren here has the spicy note. She's going to lean on it. Let's hear it. It just makes me want to go on. Let's just play the whole piece. This is Bach, Sarabande, in D major. That's Diane Chaplin playing the solo there. Let's walk through one of those revolving doors. Let's move forward a little bit, a couple hundred years. This is a contemporary composer now who goes by the name of Adele. She's from England. She wrote this next song. It's about heartbreak. Let's look at that. She could have started in a very concordant place like Bach. She could have started with a very, very comfortable note. Let's show where she could have started. But it's a song about heartbreak. You can tell she's coming from a little bit more conflicted place. So she starts a little bit further along in that spectrum. Let's hear it. Yeah, this guy broke her heart. She's getting angry about it, and she left herself. You remember that's that minor interval, so you still got about halfway to go till you get to that really harsh note. She left herself that much room to work to get really angry, and the song kind of tells that story of like, okay, you know, she's with this guy, everything really sucks, and then she gets more and more angry till she reaches that breaking point and becomes the empowered woman she is again. Let's hear, there's a sequence of chords then leading up to that breaking point. Skip is playing the part of Adele tonight, or today. And the way Adele did this song, those spicy notes, those harsh notes, come from her voice. So picture her voice coming out of his cello, and picture him singing if you'd like. It's entertaining as well. Let's hear that first in that series of chords. Yeah, there's some heartache there, but it goes further. Let's hear the next one. Sometimes love burns. Let's hear it all in context. So they're going to play that just that little bit before that chorus where she's free again, where she's empowered again. Let's play that sequence of chords and then into the chorus. Yeah. I'm coming back. I'm going to write an album of good music. I'm going to win a Grammy. Cello ensembles in exotic lands like Bend, Oregon are going to play my music. And I am a woman again.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day ahead of you guys. Thank you.